Welcome back to our favorite podcast of the week, Friday night midnight reactions podcast, reacting to what's gone on in Washington high school football in week 3. I'm Todd Milles, your host. Joining me, as always, Matt Evans, the computer guru, rankings guru, 100% accurate down in the Tri-Cities, and of course the championship coach, Eric Kurle, who handed Travis Hunter his last high school loss and doesn't regret it one single bit. Guys, how are we doing?
Doing great.
Doing great, Todd. Glad to be here.
Eric, let's start with you. The big game in Washington Friday was 6A Oregon champ Westland coming to Sumner, the reigning 4A champ. It happened to be John Eagle's final time coaching in Washington as a head coach. He announced in the summertime that he was going to retire at the end of 2025 after 33 years as a head coach. Man, he's had a really good career, winning multiple titles in both states. Eric, just some of the facing a John Eagle team and kind of, trading wit with him. What's that like? And just when you kind of reflect on what John's done in Washington, what kind of sticks with you?
He's one of those guys that's so prepared every week. When a big game, I know we went down there and just got totaled down there in Camas one year, and what they did prepared. They were ready for everything we did. I think he gets his kids ready as well as anybody. Preparation tonight, you saw, Keith loves to bring pressure on a long yardage situation. He took advantage of hitting the back out, clearing things out, and made a couple big plays on that. I mean, they got to him at times too, but doing some half roll stuff, to get out of the pressure with their quarterback. They just did a great job. He always has, of just preparing for you and what you do best and taking advantage of that and making his team successful in that situation. And he's a class act and always a great guy. I remember he coached at Portland State. He'd come up, talk to our kids when he was recruiting there in between the Camas and the Westland job, and just super guy, great with kids, talking to them. So congratulations to him, getting to retire, go see his grandkids. It's a special time for him coming up.
Yeah, I mean, no panic on that sideline when they were down big to Sumner. Second time they've had to come back in the second half in as many years to beat the Spartans. Another great game. Well, let's get to the top 25 scoreboard here in week 3. Well, let's run down the list. Number 1 O'Day found a way to not avoid an upset, beating number 15 Seattle Prep 39-14. Those bullpups at Gonzaga Prep, number 2, no problem with Mount Spokane 48-20. Lake Stevens 76-7 over Cascade of Everett, the number 3 Vikings. Number 4 Eastside Catholic off this week, and they got O'Day next week in the big 3A Metro Showdown. Mount Sahoma guys, the 5th-ranked Thunderbirds, eking out a 21-17 win over Mount Si in Tacoma. Number 6 Chiawana, no problems with Hermiston of Oregon, 54-0. We already mentioned number 7 Sumner losing to Westland of Oregon, 31-24 in Sunset Chev Stadium. Bellevue plays Saturday, and kind of one of the more interesting matchups around the state. They get to go to 1A Mount Baker. Deming and the whole Whatcom County will be there Saturday afternoon to see the Wolverines and Mounties go at it. Thursday, Graham Kapowza, number 9, getting a 14-0 win over Emerald Ridge and that tough defense by the Jaguars. 10th-ranked Anacortes, no problems with Bellingham, 68-0. 11th-ranked Kennewick, a little bit of a surprise, guys, beating Pasco 31-20. But stays undefeated. 12th-ranked Archbishop Murphy shutting out Squalicum 47-0. Same thing with 13th-ranked Linden blanking Marysville Pilchuck 49-0. Puyallup putting a wallop on Skyview in Spark Stadium 52-10. We mentioned the Seattle Prep score losing to O'Day, 15th-ranked Panthers. Close first half, but Tumwater able to pull away number 16 Thunderbirds over East Lake 49-21. 17th ranked Glacier Peak, blanking Mariner 47-0. The 5-time 1A champ Royal Knights beating one of their rivals, Connell, 54-7. Kennewick, or sorry, Enumclaw won on Thursday night, beating Kent Lake 70-0. Probably the game of the night, guys. 20th ranked Lakes coming back, kind of like in a similar fashion last year, to edge number 25 Curtis 21-17. Moses Lake, no problems with Sunnyside 49-12. Camas rebounding from the loss last week to Mount Tahoma beats Lincoln of Tacoma 35-22. The 22nd ranked Papermakers. The 23rd ranked Bothell Cougars going to Lewiston and losing 33-28. Seems like the Idaho schools have gotten the better of the Washington schools here in 2025. 24th ranked Meade beating Central Valley 47-0, and then 25th ranked Curtis Vikings losing on the road, as we mentioned earlier. Guys, let's go some scoreboard reaction. Start with you, Matt. What sort of jumps out here in week 3?
Man, I'm looking around at just some of these, like some really, really close games. I'm looking at, let's see here. I'm looking at Spanaway Lake beating Federal Way. I don't think I had that on my bingo card. Yeah, that Puyallup score really, really kind of surprised me. I thought that that game would be a little bit more competitive. Camas and Lincoln, close one there. I'm looking at 1A too. There's just some really interesting results coming out tonight. I'm looking at Kings beating Nooksack Valley by 3. I think that's 1A is going to be part of my hot takes, but yeah, just some really, really good football tonight played around the state.
I'm thinking third week in a row we're going to hear from Kurle about his Puyallup Vikings. That's where he went to school. But Eric, what stands out with you about week 3?
Well, I'll get to them, but it's Gonzaga Prep. I really like them, what they're doing, with running the wishbone and running the triple and leading off, but they're also running some RPOs off that and something that's a new little gimme or what they're doing because that kid can throw and they got some receivers and go get it. I don't see anybody but, maybe me give them a little bit of a challenge until they get to the playoffs. They're pretty special. Watched a little bit of them tonight. And Puyallup, I'm really excited for week 5 to see Puyallup Sumner, kind of see where they're at. Sumner's lost a couple of games, but they're playing top teams and playing right with them. So and Sumner's a really good football team. And then I really excited for week 5 too, seeing the Kashmir Royal game. I know we have another week going here with Kashmir. I think Royal plays Zila next week, but I really want to see that Kashmir thing. And then you got the Lake Stevens Glacier Peak game. Week 5 is the week I'm waiting for to kind of see where everything's going to shake out. Some big games that week.
We've had Anacortes, Archbishop Murphy, Linden 1, 2, 3 in our 2A rankings all year. They won by a combined 164-0 tonight. 3 shutouts. If there was any doubts that maybe there was and Seaholm obviously playing Anacortes and scoring a bunch of points. They're clearly the 4th best team in that conference. But right now, having seen Linden last week find a way to beat Franklin Pierce, man, those 3 going at, I knew it was going to be a good league championship race, and I think it might even be better than that, man. I think those 3 teams are going to have a lot of fun here. Starting in, I think it's next week, but it's over the next 3 or 4 weeks when they start playing one another. We're going to see some great games from the 3 best teams in 2A. And Tumwater didn't look bad. They had a close first half with Eastlake to pull away, being another 4A team. They beat a 4A team twice last year, so. That 2A classification, the heavy hitters, the top echelon of that classification continues to just be so impressive.
Yeah, I think Linden and Anacortes are playing next week. So yeah, you're right. That's going to be a big one.
Hey, when we're looking around the scoreboard, one of the 2 matchups featuring top 25 teams tonight played in Lakewood. Lakes beating Curtis 21-17, and joining us on the Midnight Reactions podcast is longtime Lakes football coach Dave Miller. Dave, I got to ask you, did you just go in before the game and said, let's just do what we did last year?
Yeah, Todd, it was kind of funny, at the end of the third quarter, it was 10-7 Curtis, and that's exactly the score that it was at the end of the third quarter last year. And so I rallied our guys together, and I said, we're right where we were last year. Let's finish this bad boy, and let's come on back, and let's get her done. And we did.
Yeah, you guys were down 17-7. How much did the big kickoff return kind of change the game?
It was Ian's electric, and we're really surprised they were kicking it to him. Last year he took 4 to the house in the first 4 games, and then nobody kicked it to him the rest of the year. But he's electric. He's super fast. And our guys were reeling a little bit at that point. They had a nice drive. They're really big up front. They got a power running game. And they were wearing us down a little bit at that point. Had a nice run in there to go up 17-7. And the punt return was huge. And then we got a good stop on defense. And then we kind of turned the tables. We kind of wore them down a little bit. Our running game really took over. We kind of pounded the ball down the field without throwing much. And our running backs, Corbin Reed and Toitu Maliga, kind of took over. And our interior 3, I thought that we kind of wore their big guys down. They've got a really nice big defensive front. Pretty impressive, 6'7", 6'6", 6'5". And they were manhandling us early, but I think we're in better shape. And our guys got their pads underneath them and started driving them a little bit. And I thought they wore down a little bit when it counted.
Pat Evans, what you got for Coach Miller?
Coach, congratulations on the win tonight. So when Curtis goes up by 10 points there with 10 minutes to go, what's the message to the team to kind of keep them from just dropping down, from just feeling defeated in that moment?
We've got a special group this year. I mean, our leadership is different. The kids were on the sideline rallying each other. You could just feel the vibe, the heart. These kids have a lot of heart. And so I think we weren't panicking at all. We just knew what we had to do. We knew we had to establish that continue to do what we were doing. We're still a work in progress. We've got a freshman quarterback who's going to be special, and he's working his way through things. And so he had a good game, made some good plays for us, but the whole line came over to me and they just said, Coach, put it on us. And so we started running some of our RPO stuff, and between the running backs and the quarterback, making some really good reads. I just really was impressed with our kids. They weren't going to lose. They just had a fire in their belly, and they weren't going to give up. I think the adversity they've been through in the last couple of weeks has really, really galvanized them.
You might want to introduce yourself, Coach Kurle. I don't think you've ever met or talked to Coach Miller before. No, what do you got, Eric, for Dave Miller?
Hey, Coach, that was a heck of a game, man. You guys played it out, and I know you got that belief there. I talked to Coach Westbrook. I know early in the year he thought you had a special group of kids, and but you were going to grow throughout the year. How do you feel like this is just a stepping stone for you, and how's the future going to look here coming down the road? You feel you're excited about it?
You know how it goes, Eric. You've done it for many years, and you were a legend at it. And I think it's week 3, and so there's still a lot to work on, and there's a lot of things we can clean up and fix and polish. But when you have that leadership and that, seeing guys on the sideline, encouraging guys and telling them, we got this, we got you. Our freshman quarterback held the ball a little bit too long a couple of times, and our game plan was to get it out quicker. And then they came to him and said, we got you, Jadis, we got you. And then Jadis stepped up because he just felt like these guys believe in him. So that's the specialness. I mean, we have speed. We're not the biggest guys up front, but as you know, the best teams you coach are the guys that play as a team and come together. And that's what I'm excited about. I think we still have some things that we're growing on, but to see that leadership and that unity and unselfishness. We have a backup running back that really ran hot in the second half, And our starter, who's been a 3-year starter, he was the first guy down in the end zone congratulating them when he scored. So the unselfishness has really been special with this group, and that's fun as a coach, as you know, Eric.
The Lakes Lancers moved to 3-0 tonight. A come from behind 21-17 win over Curtis. Congratulations, Coach Miller. Appreciate you hopping on the podcast, and best of luck as you move forward. And we'll hope to have you. Hope to reach out to you here in the future, especially at the end of the season, and a deep playoff run.
I appreciate you guys having me on. It's great to catch up with you guys, and hope to talk to you again down the line.
That's Coach Dave Miller from the Lakes Lancers after their 21-17 win over Curtis. All right, guys, it's the last segment of our podcast, the hot takes. Take the gloves off. What you got? Let's start with you, Matt. What's your big hot take after week 3?
My big hot take, I would have to say I'm going to call it right now. I think that the 1A seeding committee is going to have the toughest time. We've seen there's going to be lots of interesting matchups in that, like conversations between about seed 4 and seed 9 teams playing against each other, different types of results. It's going to be really interesting to see how they fit that puzzle together. I think that's going to be the one that we scrutinize the most. And lastly, I got to throw this hot take out there. Rank Hanford 30-14 win over Walla Walla tonight. I expect the Falcons to be in everybody's top 10 this week.
Wow, that is a hot take. I don't know if it's so hot that I don't even know anybody can touch that. So, all right, Hanford in the top 10 next week from Matt Evans. Eric, what's cooking with you after week 3?
Well, I basically talking to Dave there, the Lakes and Mount Tahoma. I think real excited at 3A right there. Going to be pushing O'Day and Eastside Catholic and that top little level right now here down in the South Sound. 2 teams that are jumping to that forefront, and then also excitement. I think we're going to know a lot about the 4A if there is the top 5 that you've been talking about, or if people going to jump into that thing after that week 5 against Sumner, and then. Bothell got that loss. I was kind of excited to see. I thought if they won that game, see them against Bellevue week 5 and kind of see where they lie in the Kingco. So,
yeah, two hot takes for me before we close the show here. Let's go to the Greater Spokane League with Meade blanking Central Valley. I think we sort of thought Central Valley was a borderline playoff team, even though they had to replace a lot of guys. I think Meade's really good, guys. And then Matt and I talked about this earlier in the midweek podcast about Mount Spokane really knows how to defend that triple option from Gonzaga Prep. It sounds like they're adding more wrinkles. They're tougher to defend. Man, that's going to be a blockbuster game in Spokane, game of the year in Spokane. I think they're clearly now the 2 best teams, not only in that league but in that area. Can't wait for that showdown. I was there last year when Meade had a halftime lead and lost, and both of those teams, got to the state playoffs last year, and I think bring a lot back. So I think the Greater Spokane League's down to kind of a 2-team race. And then I'm concerned about the 4A Kinko, guys. I think Eastlake, once they get Colby Johnson back from his injury, that roster will shine through. But Bothell going on the road, Eastlake losing. North Creek losing again, Issaquah losing. Skyline beat Issaquah tonight. I'm just concerned. After last year, we only had one team in the round of 16, and that was Bothell, and they didn't stay very long. And I'm concerned that might be happening again here. I don't want to overreact to just one Bothell loss at Lewiston, but I'd like to see somebody take this conference and run with it and maybe give Bellevue a game over the next few weeks. But right now, I just sort of see status quo from last year, and it's concerning. So, well, thanks for joining our Football Friday Midnight Reaction podcast, week 3, with the game of the night, Sumner losing to West Lynn in a come-from-behind fashion. I'm your host, Todd Milles. Thanks to Matt Evans in the Tri-Cities, Eric Kurle and Chelan. We'll see you next week.